by the way, Greg Jennings was a Packer for 7 of his 10 years, so they don't even have an owner. But you played 2 years in Minnesota, 1 with the Dolphins. Did you ever, as a player, could you feel ownership? Did you ever feel like owners, like were making personnel decisions or had a little bit too much power in the locker room?
Down in Miami, yes, but never in Green Bay, obviously. Didn't have an owner and didn't really feel that in Minnesota either. But this is interesting because, you know, we've seen this for years with the Cowboys and Jerry Jones, and we've seen it blow up in their face.
Right.
And this team once was one of the greatest franchises in the NFL, winning Super Bowl back to back to back, and then all of a sudden, Jerry Jones wants to do it his way, riff with the head coach, blows everything up. So if I'm Jim Irsay, I really tread lightly when it comes to making decisions. It's never really worked out well when you have owners making decisions that you've hired guys to make those type of decisions.
Yeah, think about it. Washington's owner, Dallas's owner have had more influence than you'd like. As you mentioned, Miami's owner. Let's tick them off. Now, Indy's owner. Yeah. By the way, Jimmy Haslam had more decision power than you'd want. Al Davis at the end with the Raiders.
Al Davis, yeah.
Oh, by the way, before Burrow, Mike Brown with the Bengals was like the GM. Like, we have a precedent. Owners who move into that, like, it doesn't turn out well. Like, Dallas has been okay, but I think this is a big mistake. You know, when you got to be honest with me here. I mean, I know you're an honest guy. When you watch Green Bay and Aaron eye-rolling all these young receivers, what is your first thought? Because we kind of thought this was going to happen. He's not a mentor. He's not an old. He likes his old receivers. It took him a long time for he and Devontae to work. When you watch Green Bay and Aaron right now, what do you think's going through his head with all these kids?
Like, this is not happening. It's not happening. I don't believe he believes in the guys around him. And it's evident when you look at what they do offensively. They don't push the ball down the field. He doesn't give them opportunities to truly make plays, and they're not being available or they're not making the plays when he does decide to give them that opportunity. So if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I can see why he's frustrated. At the beginning of the season, all the new vibrato, the new Aaron Rodgers as far as his emotions and his just approach to practice and the team and everything, it was so on point and on par of what they needed. When you start to lose and you start to hear the chatter and your play is declined and you're not able to make and improve the guys around you, you need more guys to step up, and that's not happening, so your frustration level goes through the roof. And rightfully so, because I believe Green Bay has not done enough to support Aaron Rodgers. When you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, they let Tyreek Hill go because they had a plan. Andy Reid and staff had a plan to replace Tyreek Hill with not just one guy, but multiple guys. The Green Bay Packers lost Devontae Adams and never had a plan, never prepared for that, and never supported Aaron Rodgers and this offense to move forward without skipping a beat. This is unacceptable, not only for the Green Bay Packers, but even for Aaron Rodgers, because he's just not playing well either.
So when you watched Miami and Pittsburgh last night, Peyton Manning's first year, Joe Burrow's first year, Josh Allen's first year, it's hard, man. You're going college to pro. But Pickett's 24. Pickett's been a 4-year starter. Pickett's got great receivers. There's a lot here about Pittsburgh. This should be a little easier transition than it was for Burrow having to carry the Bengals, a losing franchise. This is a winning franchise with unbelievable receiving, tight end talent, and a real defense. You watched it last night. What do you make of Pickett?
Well, number one, I like Pickett. I think this is obviously a year that he's going to either show us that he can grow and learn from this, or this is gonna ruin his career. I believe the former rather than the latter. He has a lot of great pieces around him. He's just making uncharacteristic decisions that he can't make. He can't put the team in a bad position defensively and offensively, and that's what you're seeing him do when they have a chance to make plays and just keep the ball in their possession. He has to find a way to do that. I like a lot of the things that I've seen out of him. He can't turn the ball over. Obviously, if he eliminates that, what is our complaint then? But it is a huge if because he continues to turn the ball over.
Listen, Eric Mangini told me this one. I can say Eric's name on this, that you have no idea week to week. You're dealing with young men. They got money problems. They got family problems. There are dramas every week in an NFL locker room that never make the public. They don't make the newspaper. And then there's stuff like Brady where he's a star, and I'm reading the newspaper, and it's like ugly, bitter divorce, and I'm like, I would be a mess. I don't know. I mean, your entire career, 10 years in the NFL. Did you ever see, because Tampa right now, some of it, I can't imagine going through that personal hardship and then showing up on Sunday totally focused in. Did you ever see in your NFL career, 10 years of it, 3 teams, personal stuff end up on the field?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It happens. And more often than not, guys are able to compartmentalize, meaning they're able to allow that football field, that moment of 3.5 hours to kind of be their sacred space where they can just let life go and just focus on this. But when it's so close, when it's right in your face, and every time you turn around, somebody's mentioning it or throwing it back in your face, and you can't do the things that anyone else in this National Football League would be able to do. You're Tom Brady, and you can't run from it. And so it's going to impact your play. I believe a lot of what we saw last year, the last couple years, was a matter of what it impacted his play for the better, being that his family was still in lockstep. They were supportive. When that's not the case, Colin, you mentioned it. It is hard. It is hard to not think about or consider what's going on in your personal life when you're trying to play a game that everybody is relying on you for and on to be great, and yet the ones you love most, they're relying on you and you feel like you've let them down.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, Greg Jennings, first things first. On after our show, he's on their set right now. The show is rolling. Their Mondays are unbelievable. Watch Greg and Kevin Wildes and Chris Broussard and Nick Wright. Nick's wrong a lot, but that's okay. We still love Nick, even though he's wrong a lot. They're all on the show, 30 minutes away. It's good seeing you, bud. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.